Now, for those of you who are unaware with the controversy, a couple of weeks ago, there was this activist group that has connections with the Australian government claiming that Steam is responsible for selling some really nasty games. And one of those games was called No Mercy, in which you get to play as a guy who goes through a divorce. And in order to enact vengeance for like the woman taking half his stuff, he decides to go on a grape rampage, right? And the game has like various themes like incest. It's obviously, you know, a game meant to shock, meant to outrage the public. Kind of like video games used to be made back in the day. You know, video games like Postal, video games like Manhunt. Like, there's nothing wrong with that type of fiction existing, right? It's like, okay, someone wrote something edgy. Oh, goodness gracious. Now, the game didn't even have that many players initially. It barely managed to have like 100 people playing. But after the freak out from collective shout, and you had like politicians in Britain and politicians in Australia, all of them being like, oh my goodness, look at the level of calamity. Clearly what's in the online space is far worse than what's in our streets. Or like trying to suggest that what's on the streets of Britain is due to video games like No Mercy. Eventually payment processors stepped in and they decided to punish the gaming platforms like Steam, telling them like, look, you need to clean house. And due to this, Steam and other websites like itch.io had to comply with the payment processors, and they removed thousands of online video games, which most of them weren't that edgy. Most of them were shovelware, other were like actual titles with story and stuff, but like if it had anything to do with non-consent, they would have been banned. And so you need to understand, like, there's a difference between non-consent with real actors and non-consent in fiction. Like, if you have a video with real people, right, and it shows a woman being kidnapped in the woods and then taken into a van where it happens, like, the viewer doesn't know if that's a film or if it's real, right? And so payment processors basically say, well, we can't tell if it's legal or not, so we're just going to assume it's not. And that's like common sense. Like you can understand why that rule exists. But when it's about fiction, you know, like someone opens a book and writes some dumb shit in there, like are we now treating it like it's a national emergency? Like, do we normalize the concept of payment processors getting to censor art? Are we going back to East Germany under the Iron Curtain where they actually had the commission to review pornography? I'm not kidding, like they actually did that. Like under communism in East Germany, that they had like some fat 45-year-old women deciding if the pornography is actually suited for the socialist mindset or not. And basically this is where we're at, right? Like people are deciding over the most trivial, nonsensical things, which is like video games. Like, don't get me wrong, in my opinion, I mean, my take is that the fictional shit is actually taking money away from the real stuff. Like, if you're genuinely against the concept of real stuff, you know, because, like, there's exploitation and stuff, you wouldn't touch the fictional shit. But anyway, right, that's just my take. Whatever. People got outraged, right? Like, a lot of people got outraged, and it's not because, like, these adult games were extremely popular. Because, again, that's what the narrative is, but they weren't. The reality is, like, overwhelmingly, people had no idea that Steam is selling adult games. Because in order to find that, you had to click a box that's pretty much out of the way. And then you also needed to use a credit card in order to buy it, right? And so, like, most people were actually not even aware that these video games are a thing. So, like, this is not why they're outraged. The reason that they're outraged is because, well, number one, like, payment processors shouldn't decide if a person gets or doesn't get to buy something legal. This is obviously an issue, right? Like, you're normalizing the payment processor as a judge. You're normalizing like random activists, random Karens to decide what people are or not allowed to buy. And this is what pisses people off. And so they started emailing and phoning Visa and MasterCard. And finally, Visa and MasterCard responded saying like, no, we don't censor anything illegal. It's not our policy to censor. But this is where Kotaku comes in. And they're basically saying, no, hold on a little bit. You're full of shit. And they're quoting Valve, right? Like they're quoting Steam. And Steam is saying that while MasterCard did not communicate with us directly, concerns did come through payment processors and banking intermediaries. They said payment processors rejected Valve's current guidelines for moderating illegal content on Steam, citing MasterCard's Rule 5.12.7. Now, MasterCard did not communicate with us directly despite our request to do so. And they say that the payment processors and their acquired banks are the ones to blame. Payment processors communicated this with Valve, and we replied by outlining the policy, and they rejected it. A merchant must not submit to its acquirer, and customers must not submit to the interchange system any transaction that is illegal, or in the sole discretion of the corporation may damage the goodwill of the corporation or reflect negatively on its marks. So basically, when MasterCard and Visa are saying, hey, we don't ban any transactions that are legal, they're lying. Like, they are flat out lying, right? So, like, what happens, like, if after a mass shooting, they decide that they don't want to fund any gun stores, right? Like, if you're in a gun store, you can't use Visa or MasterCard. Because now they can say, well, it's affecting our brand. Well, fuck your brand, you know? Like, we live in a world where the politicians are making us more and more dependent on online pay, online banking. Like, for instance, in my country, if I want to buy something more than $1,000, I have to make a bank transfer, right? Well, if that's the situation, which I know that payment processors are lobbying for it to happen, well, then you need to be regulated a little bit more. And you need to be like an electric company. You know, no one blames the electric company if bad shit happens, right? Like, let's say someone live streams a murder, right? People blame the criminal. People shouldn't blame the platform. People shouldn't blame the electric company. People shouldn't blame anything else besides the criminal. And actually, because they live streamed it, it's easier to catch them, right? Like, it's a lot easier for the police to find out who did it because now they have evidence of the live stream. Now they, you know, if there was a payment made, they actually can know who paid it. So it's actually a better thing if these things are allowed to stay rather than they're banned. This makes the authorities' jobs a lot easier. But anyway, they say that the sale of a product or service, including an image, which is potentially offensive and lacks serious artistic value, or any other material that the corporations deem unacceptable. So this is another reason why people are upset. It's like, hold on a little bit. Like, you're not even giving us a list of straight rules. It's like, lacks serious artistic value. They're video games. Like, they require an artist to draw the assets. They require a sound guy to edit the sound. They require a storyteller to make the story. They require a coder to code it. I'm pretty sure it's fucking artistic at this point. And it has, like, fictional people, right? Like, it's not something with real people in order to even justify that there's a harm there. But, like, furthermore, if it's legal, right, this is what people are saying. Because, like, Valve already bans anything that has to do with sexual exploitation of a minor. Like, they're going out of their way in order to make sure that all those games are banned. But then if you're saying, oh, well, non-consensual stuff shouldn't exist. Okay, so like Game of Thrones? 50 Shades of Grey? Why? And there's another thing, you know, like, isn't it okay for some things to... For me to hate, but also not want them to stop existing? Like 50 Shades, right? I want 50 Shades to exist so I can hate something. Why does it need to be banned? Like, if it's banned, like, what else do I get to hate? Like, no, I want it there so I can hate it. It's absolutely bizarre. It's baffling. No, like, they're absolutely lying. Like, Valve called them out. They're getting community noted everywhere. Kotaku is responding to this. And it seems that they're noticing a dip in the shares because the scandal is going international. Like, there are some Japanese lawmakers that are also talking about it. Like, they're actually more concerned about censorship than the West. Japan is fine with their censorship, right? Like, they're fine with their version of censorship. They don't want other countries to censor for them. And so, yeah, I don't know if, like, the drop in stocks is necessarily due to this event, although, like, it does coincide. It's interesting to see if it's sustainable or not, and it's interesting to see if MasterCard and Visa can have a say. Like, literally, all they have to say is to come in and point out, like, okay, if it's fictional, like, if it's a book, if it's hand-drawn, if it's something like that, if it's anime, if it's blah, 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 it's a video game, alright, fine. That's literally all they have to do. And I'm pretty sure that this is how the law was initially made, right? Like, because they're copying it from the U.S., like the law code of the United States. I'm pretty sure this is exactly how it was done at the time. It was like, okay, if you have real actors, like, no bestiality, right? Like, you don't want a woman with a dog. It makes sense, right? It's illegal. That's why they did. They said it. They don't want stuff that's non-consensual, because, like, we can't tell. Okay, fine. But if it's fictional, it's like it's a book. Like someone wrote some novel or some shit like that. Give me a fucking break, right? By this logic, you can't have AI. Like any AI that's not fully censored and lobotomized and has terms of service, like Visa won't support it. MasterCard won't support it. And it's like, well, but why though? You know, still, it's interesting that the culture is changing. Like, this is the biggest thing, right? It's not whether or not Visa and MasterCard will back down, but like the very culture, the definition of like policing entertainment. Like, don't you have anything better to do? Like, since when did entertainment become politics? Since when is entertainment so paramount to the well-being of society? Like, I'm noticing what's happening in UK. I'm noticing what's happening in Australia. I'm looking at their streets. I think their streets are far worse than the online space. And especially like the online space when it comes to entertainment and shit that's being transacted with Visa and MasterCard. But anyway, that's just my take. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you on my live stream. There's a link to that into the pinned comment. Take care.